Hey guys, this is Two Kids in a Trench Coat, a football podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jacob Rosenfarm.
I'm your other host, Ryan Sharp.
And much like Texas, I, your producer, Josh Sackles, am back.
Yep, good to have Josh back in the studio with us.
Yeah, for those jokes alone, that is the reason
Yep.
we need Josh back.
That's why I'm here.
All right, so big week ahead in football, but of course the trade deadline passing yesterday and some big moves you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, there's some impact players got moved, and I think the best deal of the bunch is the Green Bay Packers sending safety Clinton Dix to the Redskins in exchange for a 4th round pick. I was pretty shocked by that one. You?
Yeah, me too. I think it's a real good trade for Washington in terms of value and the player they're getting. I think he can really help them in this playoff push they're trying to make.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised why the Packers would make this move. Clinton Dix he's an impending free agent, and so I kind of understand getting value back for a player you're probably going to lose come free agency, but you're still in the thick of the playoff race to me. He's probably your best secondary player in an incredibly young secondary. And they shipped him off for a 4th. I don't know. I don't really understand this trade.
I had heard rumors all season that he had wanted out of Green Bay. He didn't feel at home. So I think that probably has a good amount to do with it. But at the same time, you're right. They're giving up one of their key defensive players in the heart of a playoff race.
Yeah, I think they're kind of thinking along the lines of addition by subtraction. Like that maybe he was such a negative presence in the locker room that sending him out would be the best alternative. But I don't know. I'm not really buying it just because I think a player of your caliber, of that caliber, you don't trade.
Or do you think
mid-season?
Or do you think maybe they're kind of waving the white flag? They know how serious Aaron Rodgers' injuries have been. I think he's definitely still playing hurt. So maybe the Packers are saying, you know what? Why don't you just take these next few weeks, the rest of the season, take it off. We're going to get a really good draft pick. We're going to fire Mike McCarthy finally. We're going to actually give you a team that you can win with next year.
As much as I want that to happen,
Yeah.
And as great as that sounds, I don't think it will. I just think Packers ownership has too much faith in Mike McCarthy. And the other thing is, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers really wants to take a break. He knows his Super Bowl window is closing.
Yeah.
So this is as good a year as any, even if they're 3-3-1 right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think team of the Packers caliber, a player of Aaron Rodgers caliber, is like taking years off at this point in his career. Like I think every year, every time you begin a ball game with Aaron Rodgers as your starting quarterback, you have a chance to win. And I mean, we saw that last week versus the Rams. I mean, they were a Ty Montgomery dumb-headed move away from giving Aaron Rodgers the ball back with a 2-minute warning and a timeout to get a field goal and to beat the best team in the NFL. So I don't know. The Packers seem to me right in the thick of the playoff race and one of the true contenders in the NFC.
Yep.
So the trade is confusing, but it was not the only player they shipped out that day. They also sent the much maligned Ty Montgomery to the Ravens in exchange for a 7th round pick. Any takeaways? Not a huge trade, really.
Not a huge trade. I think the Ravens are probably looking for just a quick addition to their run game or pass game. What position is he going to play? Is he a running back? Is he a receiver?
Yeah.
Is he going to wear 88? Is he going to wear a number in the 20s or 30s?
Those are some questions that I had not considered. That's a great point.
Yeah, I honestly thought more about that than I did about the trade situation for both teams. I was just curious about positioning and numbers. I don't think this trade impacts either team greatly. I think there was a ward for Montgomery's head in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So they probably made the smart move to ship him out.
I'm curious if this trade gets done if he doesn't have that screw up. Like, were they already intent on trading him, or were they like, this guy is such a negative presence and it's gonna become such a curse on our team having him here? We just need to send him out for anything. Like, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I would not be shocked by that at all. After costing you a win is important as the one that just choked up.
Yeah, really. So not a whole lot of takeaways from that one. A more impactful trade, though, was the Jacksonville Jaguars sending defensive end/pass rusher Dante Fowler Jr. to the Rams in exchange for 2 picks, a 2019 third and a 2020 fifth. What are your thoughts on that one, Sharp?
Kind of disappointed in Fowler's tenure in Jacksonville. He seemed like a talented player and then had that just awful injury on the first snap of his rookie OTAs.
Yeah.
And it seems like he never really recovered from that, maybe. So I think it sucks whenever you have to trade a first-round pick. but I think the Rams are receiving a great addition here, especially for a defensive line that's, hasn't been as good as expected this year. And I think adding Dante Fowler into that mix will definitely bolster that pass rush.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think your point about the Rams defensive line is spot on because they have the flashy names, they have Donald, they have Sue, but they were seriously lacking a true presence off the edge. That's what they were really lacking along their defense. And I think if Fowler plays in the max of his potential, that's what they're getting. They're getting a true impact player coming off the edge. But in a more likely scenario, he makes a couple plays here and there, but he never really provides a consistency that one might hope. I think it's still a good trade for the Rams, though. I mean, clearly their Super Bowl window is now. And a third round, Dante Fowler is better than a third round pick would be next year. So,
yep,
not a bad trade.
I think the Rams won this one for sure.
This is the kind of moves you make when you're a Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
Another serious trade, a truly impactful trade, I think, is the Eagles filling their wide receiver hole and acquiring Golden Tate from the Detroit Lions in exchange for a 2019 third. An interesting trade for the Lions, who had just acquired defensive tackle Damon Harrison from the Giants a couple days ago. So kind of discord in where they're going with here. Are they going for something? Are they trying to tank? What are they doing, you think?
I'm not sure. They sit at 3-4 right now. That doesn't mean the end of the season, especially in the NFC. I feel like that race is still open, at least for those 5 and 6 seeds. I'm not really sure either what Detroit's trying to do. I know what the Eagles are trying to do, and that's get someone who can catch the ball on a regular basis.
Other than Alshon Jeffrey.
Yep. But if you're Detroit, why would you trade away, one of your great trio of receivers between, Golden Tate and Kenny Golladay?
Yeah.
It
seems weird to break that up when you have, I think, the aspirations it sounds like that this Lions team has. Just to play devil's advocate, Tate is entering a contract year, and so there is that thought that he maybe doesn't return to Detroit. And if that's the case, you're getting a third for someone who you would have had, a handful of games left in a Lions uniform. So if they're relatively confident he's not coming back, I guess it's a good trade. But I don't know. It's taking time for me to readjust my kind of perspective with NFL trades. How highly do these teams value these picks? And because I've seen a lot of Twitter takes where it's comparing it now to the NBA trade deadline, where teams are willing to give up long-term assets for a short-term championship window, and I'm not really sure if that still applies in the NFL. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I think some teams definitely value picks more than others. Otherwise, Amari Cooper wouldn't have been traded for a first.
Yeah, clearly. So that, I think we could all agree, that was the bonehead move of the trade deadline as a whole. That will still shock me. The only player traded for a first this deadline, and it's probably the third or fourth best one.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. But the final impactful trade from yesterday that we've yet to touch on is the Denver Broncos sending Demaryius Thomas to the Houston Texans in exchange for a 4th-round pick and a swap of 7s. What do you think about this one?
I like it for the Texans, but I am sad to see Demaryius Thomas leave Denver. I'm sure you're not.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how I know Demaryius Thomas, and it's going to be an adjustment to see him on the Texans.
Yeah, I mean he was a massive force in there in this Super Bowl era of Bronco football. I mean he, I think, is the face of that. Honestly, with their rotating door of quarterbacks, Demaryius Thomas has been the staple of the Broncos offense for a while now.
Yep.
And it's weird to see him gone. If we're being honest, it's weird. It's not even that gone. He's playing in Maha Stadium this weekend. Yeah. Just as a member of the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that is kind of strange. I mean, not really, because I guess that happens. It's strange for them to trade them though. It seems like the Broncos have kind of given up on the short term.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great call. I think they're kind of punting the season. I think they know Case Keenum's not the answer. I don't know if they're willing to admit that in the next draft. I don't know if that's where they fix it or they try and find another short-term solution. But Cortland Sutton is providing right now 80 to 90% of the production Thomas is, and so it makes sense to get any sort of asset for him. But yeah, it is a little sad to see him go.
Yeah. What do you think of this for the Texans? How does this help?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think it's great. Getting more weapons around Watson was clearly an emphasis, and with Fuller now done for the season, getting another weapon is great. I do worry that his skills overlap a little bit too much with Hopkins. They're both big-bodied receivers, not great at separation, more just getting the ball up. but I don't know. It's still a viable piece that you can trot out there.
Yep, I agree with that. I think the fact that you're replacing Will Fuller with Demaryius Thomas is not bad at all.
Yeah, exactly. You could do way worse.
It's not like replacing Jarvis Landry with Danny Amendola.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Jarvis Landry's not out here throwing touchdown passes.
But he is.
Okay, he is. Crap. Fuck. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you on that one then.
It's all right. Let's talk about this week of football coming up.
It sounds like a good plan.
So, like we said a couple weeks ago, is we have just been blessed by these amazing Thursday night games early in the season. And then this is our third dud, if you will, in a row. The one-win Raiders traveling to take on the one-win Niners. Loser of this game has a real shot at the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. This game will almost undoubtedly play a factor in the seeding of the top three. I think this is a massive game that both teams should be actively trying to lose.
Yep. I think that'll make it kind of fun to watch.
I guess
not in the sense that it'll be exciting, but in the sense that you'll just get pleasure from the crap show that is happening in front of you.
My heart wants to think this is going to be a shootout of just defenses that lack the motivation to really like.
Okay, but C.J. Beathard.
I know that's exactly the counterpoint is C.J. Beathard. I mean, he did put up 30 points on the Packers. We're forgetting that. Like there was one week we're like, oh yeah, C.J. Beathard, he's okay, and then he's just been just absolute garbage since. So I it's hard to really evaluate what the Niners have, but yeah, this is an absolutely brutal Thursday night game.
Yep. I could see John Gruden being like, I'll tell you what, man, I think this team has the ability to win out, and we're going to start with the Niners right now. I could see John Gruden doing something like that and just putting all of his effort and all of his team's energy into winning this game that could screw him out of a better draft pick. That just seems like a John Gruden thing to do.
That would definitely be a John Gruden thing to do. Yeah, this is just... I really don't want to watch this at all. This is not going to be a fun game.
No, I'm sure we'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't want to watch it, but we're going to watch it. Yeah. And so speaking of watching, who do you have winning this game?
I know I just said all that funny stuff about John Gruden, but I do like the Niners at home in this one, and I think all around they're just a little bit better than the Raiders.
Yeah, man. It's hard to pick. It's not hard to pick against each other. It's hard to put your faith in John Gruden, but that's what I think I'm going with here. I think the Raiders head into San Francisco. I think they are the slightly more competent team, and just both these teams are rough, but I think the Raiders are slightly less trash.
Interesting.
So yeah, moving on. Our first Sunday game, we have the Bears traveling to Buffalo to take on the fighting Bills.
Man. Well, Derek Anderson's out.
Yep.
Peterman is in. They've brought in Matt Barkley to play backup, and I think Matt Barkley should start this game.
Wow. Okay. Tell us why.
Because what has Nathan Peterman done
Sure.
to show you that he's capable of starting? Like, if you're gonna start Nathan Peterman, you might as well start Matt Barkley.
I guess at that point you've reached rock bottom. Might as well just see where everything. Oh man, this is
just kind of see what happens.
Okay, so I'm reading up because when you said Derek Anderson's out, we're not positive about that. Derek Anderson is in concussion protocol, so like he's debatable, correct?
Yeah.
Have you heard otherwise?
I heard from someone that he was not playing this week.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe he is.
Maybe that could be wrong. I could have just given you a factual error.
So their three options are a less than 100% Derek Anderson, a fully healthy Nathan Peterman, and a
hasn't played in 2 years.
Exactly, and a couch locked Matt Barkley. Man, those are some options right there. Okay, this is a question. Do the Saints have three better quarterbacks than the Bills do?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say so. Drew Brees, obviously, Teddy Bridgewater, obviously, and Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's a better quarterback than anything the Bills have on their roster.
Jacob, you gotta remember
Yeah.
that Sean Payton thinks Taysom Hill is the quarterback of the future, according to ESPN's Monday Night Football crew.
I'm not sure if Sean Payton actually thinks that.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb
Joe
there.
Tessitore can say he thinks that as much as he wants, but Joe Tessitore's wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to side against Joe Tessitore on this one.
If I had to rank them, though, I'm probably going Breeze, maybe Teddy, then Josh Allen.
Okay, there we go.
And then just fill in the rest.
Yeah, fill in the rest as you see fit.
Just go alphabetical.
But yeah, this is going to be a brutal game for, I think, the Bills.
Yep, I agree, especially with what we've seen out of the Bears' offense this past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just Trubisky seems to keep finding a way to get the ball down the field with his legs. I'm not sure how long that will sustain itself, but I'm fairly confident, at least against the Bills this week, that will keep happening.
Interesting. So actually, I don't think Trubisky's going to have that great a game. As we know, I stand firmly on my corner of Mitch Trubisky's trash, and I also believe that the Bills' defense is competent. And when your offense is putting up a combined 11 points, it's really difficult to be productive. But against someone like Trubisky, I think you're going to find some success. I think I feel relatively confident saying they pick him off at least 2 times. I could see him having real struggles, but I don't think it'll matter. That's the point. I think they're going to give them such prime field position and such. I think the Bears probably roll.
I tend to always expect 2 picks from Trubisky, so
that's a good point. Yeah, maybe that's not that hot.
That seems like an okay game for me. 2 picks, a couple touchdowns, and a win.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're staring at. I'm thinking rough completion percentage, around 60%, 50% completion percentage, over 200 yards, probably a couple scores and probably a couple picks.
That should be enough, though, I think.
Definitely. So who do you got in this game?
I am taking the Bears in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the Bears roll.
Yep. So moving on now, we have an NFC South matchup that we thought a couple weeks ago might have been kind of fun, but now it's looking less fun. Tampa travels to Carolina, take on the piping hot Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers really are just on a roll. It is fun to watch what they're doing down in Carolina.
Yep, agreed. And with all the crap going on in Tampa right now, I think they're in for another pretty fun week.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're going to put up a bunch of points, and Cam Newton has just been on a tear. Whatchamacallit? He's just putting up MVP type numbers, and something we really haven't seen from him in a while.
Yep, I think if the Panthers keep this up, Cam Newton will definitely work his way into that MVP conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure if he wins it, but he should be in the conversation just based off what he's been doing if he can keep that up.
I think there's a group of 7 players right now who are legit MVP candidates, and that I don't know if we could discuss this later in the podcast, but halfway point of the season, I think these players, there are a handful of players who are truly establishing themselves as the premier player of 2018, and Cam Newton is in that conversation, and I think I don't know. I see no way the Bucs pull this one out.
Not me either. Ryan Fitzpatrick is back at it. Jameis Winston's been benched. So yeah, that's kind of fun. We get more Fitzmagic.
Exactly. I could see this
Fitzmagic from Harvard.
I could see this being a pretty high-scoring game, if I'm being honest. As much as I like the Panthers' defense, I think their offense is going to put up so many points that the Bucs are just going to be forced to sling it.
Yeah, their defense will just get tired.
Exactly. Their corners aren't that good, and they still have the Bucs still have good weapons.
Yeah.
And so that combination, I bet it's a high-scoring game.
Yeah, the fact that the Panthers score fast enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we're both in agreement here. I think we both have the Panthers winning this one.
Yep.
Yeah. So should be a fun one though.
Yep. So moving on to the Chiefs at 7-1, going to the 2-5-1 Cleveland Browns. This might be kind of a fast forward or don't watch game.
Yeah. If there are some significantly better games on for the early slate, and I would recommend watching basically all of them before you watch this one, just because the Browns are going to be so disorganized and so just in shambles after firing both their head coach and their offensive coordinator this week.
Plus, just with the strength of the Chiefs' offense, there's no stopping them, especially if you're the Browns.
Exactly. Even if they had Hugh Jackson, I'd feel super confident in the Chiefs' chances this week. But the fact that
I was super confident before they fired Hugh Jackson.
Exactly. No, the only hope for this game is that Baker shows something. I think that Baker. If I'm a Browns fan, I'm going in this game hoping that Baker keeps us close just through, just sheer force of will on this one from Baker. So that's what I'd be hoping to see.
Yeah, an okay day from Baker is a win for the Browns.
Exactly. I would really like to see him put up some actually kind of gaudy. This would be a fun a Baker moment, even if they don't. I don't expect him to win. That's asking too much. But if Mayfield and Mahomes. The next great shootout, if that were to start today, or start on Sunday, that'd be pretty fun.
Yep. It's I forget what I was going to say, but it should be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But again, man, another kind of easy pick. I think we're both riding with the Chiefs on this one.
Yep, all the way.
Yeah. Moving on though, our next game, staying in the AFC but shifting divisions. We have our first division match, or not second, sorry, Bucks Panthers, but our second division matchup of the day, the Jets traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. How are you feeling about this game?
Not too great, if we're being honest. Brocktober has now become Brovember. Osweiler is getting the start for the injured Ryan Tannehill this week. This is the second time these two teams have played, and I think for Sam Darnold that is a good thing. Now that he has some film to watch, and the Dolphins' defense is significantly worse than they were in that first matchup, I think Sam Darnold might have a good day laying ahead of him.
Interesting. I think that on one hand, while I see what you're saying, that the extra film will help Darnold. I could also see that in the reverse, where the extra film, seeing Darnold for a second time, that could really favor the defense. I tend to think that a more mature and a more veteran-laden defense like the Dolphins, I think, would capitalize on this moment more than maybe Darnold could. But all of that withstanding, I don't disagree with you that I think Darnold probably performs at least average.
I think he has a better game than he did the first time.
Interesting. I think he probably has about the same game. I think he was competent. I feel like in their previous matchup. No.
Competent, yes. Good, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's good on Sunday. Not great.
Wow.
I'm still really struggling to pick a winner in this one. Vegas has the Dolphins by 3 at home, and I think just like you said with the veteran defense, they'll be able to hold on just enough that they can win this game, but it'll be tougher than the 20-0 halftime score they had against the Jets last time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we see that kind of beatdown. I think I'm more optimistic about your team than you are, though. I think we're seeing a lot out of this Dolphins offense. I think we're seeing some creativity and some unique formations that maybe we weren't seeing at the beginning of the year. I really like the way you guys have utilized Kenyon Drake and the Frank Gore tandem. I think that's a great sign for the Dolphins going forward. And yeah, the losses of Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant are brutal. But if we're able to see more out of Devontae Parker, that's exciting to me.
Yep, Devontae Parker, not one of the people we talked about getting traded, even though we pretty much thought that was a given 2 weeks ago. He had himself a pretty good game, over 100 yards receiving against the Texans last Thursday. So I'm excited to see what he has in store for the rest of the season, especially now that they really need him to step up.
Exactly.
After the losses of Grant and Wilson.
I would have to think I don't have to think. I feel pretty confident in saying that that Devontae Parker's production simply lies in his ability to get reps. I don't know. I feel like someone like Devontae Parker, who has all the physical tools, I would have to believe that if you throw him out there, he's going to produce at some point.
Yep. He has very good hands, so I shouldn't say great hands. He does have a couple bad drops in his history, but he's very good at going to get the ball, so if you can put the ball in his area, there's a good chance he comes down with it.
Yeah, I mean, wherever we have seen success from Brock, whether it be Denver with Demaryius Thomas or a little bit with Houston with DeAndre Hopkins, not that much, but more in Denver. I think he fits well with big receivers.
Yep, if you can put the ball in his catch radius, there's a strong chance that he comes down with it.
So, who do you have winning this game?
I'm going to have to take the Dolphins at home, but I think that Vegas line of -3 is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a closely fought battle. I went back and forth on this one, but I'm riding with the home team. I'm going with the Dolphins.
Last time I picked the Dolphins, though, because they were the home team, they lost to Detroit, so...
Yeah, not a great sign, but hopefully this week turns out differently.
See what happens. And moving on now to an AFC North matchup with some pretty big playoff implications. The Steelers go into Baltimore to take on the Ravens.
Yeah, Steelers, it feels like have never been hotter, and the Ravens maybe after that horrible loss against the Saints, and then just a brutal beatdown at the hands of the Panthers. I don't think they've ever been lower. So two teams kind of at different points in their season.
Yep, I would say the Steelers are close to peaking. And the Ravens are close to bottoming out. Or maybe they have done so already and this is the week they start climbing. But right now, I love what James Conner's doing. I love that Ben Roethlisberger is still... I actually don't love this. That he's still managing to play at a pretty decent level. Compared with the Ravens' struggles, I like the Steelers this week.
Interesting. My gut tells me Steelers, but something about this Ravens team feels feisty to me. I don't know. I don't like Big Ben traveling. I still don't like the instability that surrounds their offense and whether Bell's coming back, whether Bell's not coming back. I think that is a Moreau that holds over these teams that kind of doesn't hold back their ceiling, but certainly plays a factor.
They don't know how to prepare for these games. Are they going against Le'Veon or are we going against James Conner?
Or are we or for the Steelers, are we suiting up Le'Veon? When's Le'Veon coming back? How is he? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, today is Wednesday, so I'm going to say for this week at least.
Oh, clearly, yeah, he's not coming back this week. So maybe it's completely out of their minds. Maybe I'm blown.
He has 10 days to come back, though.
I know, that's weird. I would have to think they're feeling something about this. This seems unideal. If I was a team trying with serious playoff aspirations to have your best player say, "Yeah, I'm coming back this week," and then not show up, and then and then
we haven't heard from him since.
Exactly. No word. I don't know. I don't like what's going on in Pittsburgh. I still think their defense has serious holes, and that's why I'm riding with the Ravens in this game.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm a big fan of James Conner.
Oh yeah.
And if he can step up against this Ravens defense, then I think the Steelers can pull this one out. I just haven't seen enough from the Ravens in the past 2 weeks for me to really have faith in them against a good team like the Steelers.
I can get behind that. I understand why. I really see this as a huge bounce back opportunity for the Ravens. I think they easily could have beaten the Saints that week just if Justin Tucker doesn't miss the first extra point of his career. So I feel like they were right in that game, and they lost to a better Carolina team. They went down to their place and got their booty beat. And that's just what happens when you're not that good a team. But coming back home, facing a division rival, I really like their chances.
I think this is just going to be a matter of who wants it more.
Definitely.
Big playoff implications, though. That's super exciting. So.
Yeah, exactly. We are creeping into that time of the year.
Yep, halfway through. Man, it's going fast. And with that, we are about halfway through our preview here. We've got a couple 1 o'clock games left. The next one, NFC North matchup between the Lions and the Vikings. Vikings coming off that rough Sunday night loss to the Saints. Do you think they bounce back this week against the Lions?
I would have to think they do. This seems like a perfect bounce back opportunity for a team that proved they can hang with the elite of their conference, but maybe not beat. Like they can certainly. I don't think they're ever going to be blown out in these games, but in games where they're facing the cream of the crop in the NFC, But clearly there's something separating them from that. But against a team like the Lions, that's just not at the talent level of a Rams or a Packers or a Vikings. I really expect the Vikings to beat up.
Yeah, I think the Vikings. I don't know if they beat up, but I think they win comfortably. Especially Golden Tate not being around anymore. I think that seriously changes the dynamic. At least in that first week without him.
Yeah.
And that alone won't be enough for Minnesota to win, but I think the fact that they're just better on all around on defense, they're a little more consistent on offense, I think they win this game.
Yeah, I'm not liking what's going on in Detroit. Matt Patricia was a rough hire, I think, from the jump, and I don't think he's done anything to disprove that. Did you see the weird interaction he had with the reporter today?
I did not see that.
Yeah, so the reporter asked him a question at a press conference, and Patricia basically berates him for slouching. And he's like, "Hey, if you're gonna ask me questions, show me some respect and sit up in your chair." And it was just really weird. I don't know. So that's never a good sign to me. When your coach is a dick, then I feel like your whole team's gonna play poorly.
Is it maybe the Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia coming out?
See, Bill Belichick's not a dick. Bill Belichick,
he's just
quiet and keeps to himself and doesn't
unenthusiastic.
He doesn't tolerate bullshit. Like he's gonna cut it off when it happens. Matt Patricia's just looking for a fight, and that's just. What are you doing, Matt Patricia? You're a rookie head coach. Why are you out here making enemies with the media?
Yeah, I mean, you have a guy that has 5 rings as a head coach. I think that gives you a little more leverage in terms of Sandler.
Great point.
Respect the Patriots, please. Sit up in your chair. That's my Bill Belichick impression.
Not quite as good as your John Gruden, but it's in the workshop.
Yeah.
Or the Patrick Mahomes impression.
Your Patrick Mahomes impression is spot on.
We talked about the Chiefs already, so we'll have to wait until next week to hear that.
We'll just tease that for next week.
For now, though, I think you're right. I think Matt Patricia, kind of a questionable hire at first, has not done anything to impress me outside of the win over New England, and I think that was more of an off night for the Pats than it was an on night for the Lions.
Yeah, I would have to agree. That was just a weird, Patriots game. We have a couple of those every year, and that's one we're gonna look back on. And how did the 13-3 Patriots team lose to a 4-12 Lions or
13-3. Bold prediction there, Jacob.
Not really, but just because I don't even, what is their record as we currently stand? They're 6-2, am I wrong?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. 13-3 is not that crazy, but regardless, Vikings back at home, and I think they pull this one out.
Yep, I agree with that. So moving on now, Falcons traveling to Landover, Maryland to take on the Redskins. Redskins are hot right now, and the Falcons are
Not
mediocre right now. Who do you like in this game?
I think this is going to be an awesome game. I think this might be my favorite game of the early slate, which I think is kind of a hot take considering the matchups we have. I think this Redskins team is a legit shot at winning the NFC East, which is something I couldn't imagine saying a couple weeks ago. But
Me
no,
either.
but they are firing on all cylinders. They have found something that works. Adrian Peterson looks 5 years younger. And I love their stable of running backs. Alex Smith does just enough to win, and I think that defense is legit. And I think a subpar Falcons team that has been riddled with injuries. I like the Skins.
Me too. This is a game that I think not a lot of people are going to really care about, but should care about given its long-term implications.
Oh, for sure. This Falcons offense is still high flying, and against I think the surprise unit of the year in the Redskins defense. I'd love to see how they match up.
Does Matt Ryan throw his first interception in 5 weeks?
I'm thinking he does. I'm going with yes.
I might take yes too on that one.
Yeah. Matty Ice has been fantastic for this stretch, but the one piece I will give him, they are coming off their bye, and so they've had 2 weeks to study this Redskins defense. But I still don't think it's going to be enough. Maybe Matty Ice continues his dominance, but I think if pressed, I could see this Redskins offense taking it to the next level.
Yep, I have seen this Redskins team thrive enough this season, and the Falcons team struggle enough this season. And given just the past couple weeks, I'm still going to take Washington.
Yeah, me too. Better game, though, than a lot of people expect.
Tune into this one if you have the chance. It should be fun.
Moving on to the afternoon games, though. Let's get it started with the Texans traveling to the Mile High Stadium to take on the Broncos.
Yep, Demaryius Thomas makes his triumphant return a whole less than 5 days after being traded.
So I'm curious, you think so? He got traded yesterday,
Yep.
And so he's in Denver. The Texans still probably at that point hadn't left for Denver to play. They probably stayed in Houston until Friday, correct? Don't you think?
Yeah, I'd imagine they probably stay until Friday, especially given that it's not that far of a flight.
Exactly.
So I'm going to have to guess that Demaryius Thomas just went to Houston.
So you think he went to Houston, spent Thursday there, spent Friday there, and then flew back to Denver?
Yeah, I think he
will fly back to Denver.
He probably left Denver pretty soon after and will travel back there with the team.
I would have, but okay. Wouldn't be shocked if he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna kick it in Denver for a couple days. Y'all do your thing. Send me the playbook by mail. I'll download that shit as a PDF and let's get it cracking.
I would be shocked.
Really, you'd be shocked?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that had he been traded, had the deadline been closer to Sunday, that would have been the case, and it would just be like, I'm staying here, but
I'll meet you guys at the stadium.
yeah, he has the chance to get in 2 practices, and I think that is
That's
that's
huge.
significant.
I get. It's a wide receiver. Like really, you're not like it's just route trees. Like everyone has the same route trees.
Okay, that I would actually say wide receiver is one of the more important positions to get that practice in.
Interesting.
I would understand maybe if you're like a cornerback or something, maybe it's not that important because really you're not working with the other guys as much. You're more kind of on your own, covering your own guy. But with a wide receiver, so much of your success depends on your chemistry with that quarterback, and he doesn't really know Deshaun Watson that well, I would assume.
Sure. Yeah.
So you got to start to get to know Deshaun Watson, maybe talk to him about routes. Like, listen, man, when I'm up here, I want to do this, or I usually go here. I like when quarterbacks place the ball like at my head when like I'm running a cross route, or I don't know. Just telling him like stuff like that. I feel like that's incredibly important for wide receivers and quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that connection can play a huge role in it, and I think it's definitely a good start to at least get these 2 practices in.
Yeah.
I think those might mean a lot more than we think.
That is a very good point. So who knows? I'm curious to see how it performs. I would assume emotions could not be riding higher for Demaryius Thomas. This must be a super surreal feeling.
Yep. There is a several stories high banner with Demaryius Thomas hanging outside Mile High Stadium.
Wow.
The Broncos went ahead and left that up and modified it a little bit to say thank you, and will honor him before the game on Sunday.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Classy move by the Broncos.
I assume they'll probably take that banner down as soon as the game ends.
I would have to think.
But for now, it's cool that they're leaving it up, kind of let him have one final ride at Mile High.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be back there, but for it to be like immediately after the trade, I think that's kind of cool. He gets to play there one more time.
I'm really glad that this worked out this way.
Yeah.
Just because no one knew when Demaryius Thomas was doing his last things as a Bronco. We didn't have those last Demaryius Thomas moments. But yeah, so that should be fun. But we are missing the crux of the argument here. Who do you have winning this game?
Oh man, I am gonna have to take the Texans here, given the addition of Demaryius Thomas, and just how hot they've been. They're going for win number 6 in a row, and I've just seen too many inconsistencies from this Broncos team. Their best win so far is against the Cardinals. I don't know how true that is, but
they beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Seahawks is it probably.
Yeah. Their biggest win is against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
In terms of scoring.
There you go.
But yeah, I like the Texans in this one. I just think they're too hot right now to really drop a game against a mediocre team.
I couldn't agree more. I think this Texans team is on a roll. They've clearly found something, and basically is stealing Demaryius Thomas from your opponent. I don't know. That has to pay dividends at some point. I think this Broncos team is clearly kind of given up on the season. Vance Joseph's not a good coach. I mean, neither is Bill O'Brien, but Vance Joseph might be worse. And yeah, I'm taking the Texans.
All right. Moving on now, we got your Chargers traveling to Seattle. What do you think of this game?
Little worried personally as a Chargers fan. Seattle is always a difficult place to play, regardless of how talented their team is, and a quarterback of Russell Wilson's caliber, you can never count them out of games.
Russell Wilson, despite the Seahawks struggles, still having a pretty good season so far. I think really comparable to last year in a lot of ways, where he just goes out and gives 100% every time and balls out, and it just does not work out in his favor or the Seahawks' favor.
Yeah, he had a masterful performance last week against the Lions, but this week I think something slightly different is in store. The Chargers coming off their bye week, and I think that's huge for a defense that has typically struggled against running quarterbacks. And so I think that extra preparation will be huge for the franchise. And another huge addition is Joey Bosa returning fully to health. That is a massive force on the Chargers defensive line.
For sure.
To be able to replace, it's basically been Isaac Rochelle right now, who is a 7th round pick. Replacing him with an all-pro type talent is unprecedented for a defense of this caliber this late in the season.
So is the bye week and the film prep combined with the return of Joey Bosa enough to win this game?
It took you enough.
That was a really long sentence in terms of elapsed
time.
time.
We need to let the people know. Josh Zachlich just texted both of us mid-podcast. Willie McCovey died just now. He was 80, a 6-time All-Star and MVP in 1969. Mention if you want. And then below that, JK, I didn't realize it was baseball, not football.
So, okay, the way the alert came in was former Giant. It didn't give me a position. It just said Willie McCovey.
So what? Hold on. So what you're saying is that if the Post had clarified that it's the New York Football Giants, you would have appreciated that context.
I would have appreciated if it just said New York Giants.
I mean, McCovey Cove, man.
Yeah, exactly. My dad's favorite player. Shout out to Erwin. Got him a signed Willie McCovey jersey or a picture a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Willie McCovey, cool guy. Sad to see he died. That's horrible.
Yep, that is quite sad. So we're happy Josh told us.
Yeah, thank you for telling us, Josh. I am sure the fans of this football podcast were anxious to hear our analysis of Willie McCovey.
So
getting back to this
that gives
game.
me the chance to re-ask this question. Does the 2 weeks of film study and preparation of Russell Wilson, plus the return of Joey Bosa, give the Chargers the edge they need to win this game in Seattle?
Yes, I think it does. I think the Chargers are the superior team here, and while...
Is that your unbiased opinion?
That is my unbiased opinion, and while I think the Seahawks are a talented bunch, their defense is young, and without Earl Thomas, that secondary is super inexperienced, and while what they're able to create in Seattle atmosphere-wise from their home field advantage is substantial, I think the Chargers have enough talent to surpass it.
Yep, I do agree. I think the crowd is what keeps Seattle in this game, just the fact that they're at home. But other than that, San Diego... Man, I've done this a couple times now. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Los Angeles has all the... a lot of things going right for them that the Seahawks don't, and I think they're able to capitalize.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a sizable victory. I think this is much closer. I think this is a back and forth game for a lot of it.
Yeah, close for sure. But
definitely. But I think probably Chargers squeak this one out.
Go Chargers, go! So I guess we can move on now to the next 4:00 game we have coming up here, and that is the very important and very exciting Rams at Saints.
Yeah, another fantastic matchup for the Rams. And both these teams playing in high-profile games back-to-back weeks. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Last year, the Rams beat the Saints to stop their 8-game winning streak. And this year, the Saints are the team with the chance to do that to the Rams. What do you think?
That'd be an incredible storyline, and I do think it comes true. I think the Rams, just as back-to-back sort of, I think playing two teams of the Packers and the Saints caliber back-to-back is just so mentally and physically taxing. And having to travel for that second game, I don't like their chances. I think this is the Rams' first defeat of the season in a masterful performance from Drew Brees and company.
Yep. When you put it all on the line for all 60 minutes like the Rams did last week, I think it's really hard to recover from that, especially when you're traveling. And this is not a short trip for them either. Plus, like we said, the Saints just have a lot going for them right now, and I think that continues. I expect a quick rebound from the Rams if they do go down this week, but the Saints right now at home, I'm taking just based off the fact that they're at home, and like you said, just taxing on the Rams for them to play that game against the Packers and then travel and play a team like the Saints.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a stellar game, though. I think this is going to be such a fun game to watch. These are two obviously high octane offenses. I think we're going to see points galore in this game. I think we felt that last week with the Rams Packers, and maybe didn't get quite as many points as some of us would hope. But in this game, I feel that two offenses are both going off, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yep. Hopefully, no one decides to knee it down in the name of sportsmanship.
Yeah, that was bettors everywhere. I think are quickly turning against Todd Gurley and his kindness.
But the Rams are 8-0, and the Saints are 7-1.
I think 7-0 and 6-1. I could be. Well,
I have it up 8-0 and 6-1. I apologize, but Rams.
You were right, Ryan. They did play 7 games.
Yeah, Rams looking at potentially 8-1 if everything goes according to what we have to say about it.
Or 9-0. 9-0 would be
both of those
crazy.
are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just remember the time when you said 9-0 out of the blue. When the Titans beat the Bears in Week 9 and Javon Curse put a piece of tape between the 9 and the 0 on his jersey and walked around the sidelines with a big 9-0 on there. That Titans team led by Kerry Collins.
Wow. That is a moment, I think, in football lore that goes underappreciated.
Yep. That does not matter today, though. So, what? Any other things you have to say about this Rams and Saints game?
No, I can't wait. It's clearly the premier afternoon game for a tantalizing slate of late games for sure.
Yep. A very tantalizing Sunday night game. The Packers with their second consecutive tough game and their second consecutive tough game on the road against New England. How's this one play out?
Again, I think this is another shootout. These are two defenses that despite all of Green Bay's improvements last week, especially in their secondary, this is still a below average unit, and against a quarterback of Tom Brady's caliber, I think they're probably going to struggle.
And also, Tom Brady's coming off one of the most disappointing performances of his career. He did not throw a single touchdown this past Monday against the Buffalo Bills. So he's going to want to just show everyone, yeah, I'm still the greatest of all time. Aaron Rodgers is pretty good, but I'm better.
Yeah, I could see that. I think Tom Brady is definitely frustrated with the Patriots' performance last week, especially their inability to execute in the red area, as he said. And I think that red area execution returns for the Patriots this week. I think they score enough points that they beat the Niners, or not the Niners, the Packers, excuse me. But I think you're right. We do see a high-scoring game here.
Yeah, I agree. We see a high-scoring game, but I'm going to disagree with you here on the winner of this game. I think Aaron Rodgers and the rest of this ragtag group of players he has on the Packers go into Foxborough and take down the Patriots.
For the second week in a row, Jacob has taken the Packers on the road against one of the NFL's elite teams.
It burned me last week, but it's coming back this week, baby.
I like the confidence.
Thank you.
But I have more confidence in Tom Brady than I do in the Packers.
That is a very fair point. I'm working with gusto here, but it didn't really come through for me last week, and I'm a little worried. I wouldn't go out and put money on the Packers, but for the purpose of this podcast, I'm talking myself into it.
All right. Do you want to move on before I talk you out of it?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Or is there anything else you'd like to say?
Let's go quickly. I'm quickly thinking about it again.
All right, so we wrap out Week 9 with the Titans going to Dallas for Monday Night Football. This is another game that has potential to impact the draft a little bit. Maybe not the top 5, but the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. These are two pretty mediocre teams, and I think we're going to end up with some bad selections here for the Cowboys. Unfortunately, without their first round pick, as we talked about a little earlier, with the decision to deal it for Amari Cooper, and that he will be making his debut this week on Monday night against the Titans. How do you think he does?
I think Amari Cooper has an okay game. I think we see a lot of Raiders Amari Cooper. Just he's wearing silver and blue instead of silver and black.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dak Prescott is much better than Derek Carr or if he's any better than Derek Carr. So I think Amari Cooper has an okay game in his first time out in Dallas, but nothing special.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we've seen from Amari Cooper is basically what they're getting. A slightly above average talent who you easily could have done better with a top 10 pick. But, Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones are gonna do what they're gonna do, and I don't think it holds them back from a victory on Monday night.
Nope, I agree. I think the fact that they now don't have the first, they gave that up for Cooper. It shows that they're at least somewhat interested in competing, and I think that gives them much more incentive to win than the Titans have. But of course, the Titans playing in that AFC South, though it does seem like Houston's pulling away a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Dallas wins this game, though.
Yeah, me too. It's really disappointing what's happening in the AFC South. I mean, a lot of really smart people were saying that AFC South could be the best division in football.
I had 3 playoff teams in there, all with double-digit wins, and then as a couple weeks ago, it's like, oh, there still might be 3 playoff teams here, just not as good as we anticipated, and then we're like, oh, it's still competitive, and now it's just
we're all trying to rationalize it to ourselves that it's. Every day we fail a little more. The AFC South is just not at the caliber we thought it was, but that takes nothing away, I think, from the Titans are building. I think getting a new quarterback in there might be the key. Getting a quarterback that Matt Nagy and Mike Vrabel have really fallen in love with rather than the previous regime. I think that's probably the next step of this rebuild.
Yep, I agree with that. I don't think that happens right away. I think that's a couple more years down the road.
Wow, really?
Yep, I think they're kind of set on Mariota, at least more so than the Bucs are on Jameis Winston.
Interesting.
I don't see them giving up on him that fast. But,
I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, for Titans fans, I hope not. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement here. Cowboys pulling this one out in kind of another dreary Monday night matchup.
Yep. Hopefully it's a little better than Pat's Bills was.
What? You didn't want to? You weren't elated to see 6 points from the Derek Anderson led Bills?
I mean, it was kind of cool, but not that cool.
As someone, 2 people in this room who had New England defense playing, it was a welcome sight.
I will have to say that I wish all of the listeners of Two Kids in a Trench Coat could have been with Jacob and I on Monday night. As we were cheering on the Patriots defense, we both needed a pick 6 to secure our fantasy games for the week. And what do you know? Just in the nick of time, we got a pick six from the Patriots defense.
That we did.
We were both able to pull out our fantasy wins.
That has happened to all three of us this season now, and I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yes.
That is pretty cool. But yeah, I can't think of a better way to end the podcast by celebrating our fantasy victories, and good luck to all you other fantasy players out there this weekend.
Yep, great week of football coming ahead, and we will talk to you next week following the Week 9 games for our recap on Two Kids in a Trench Coat. See you then.